So if it wasn't clear, you are live.
Okay, hey.
Hello. I was like, now, and you're like, okay.
All right.
Well, I'm glad I wasn't pulling like a full like meltdown a la like that Fox News guy who was
Right.
like, "We're gonna do it live. Come on,
God
Emily.
damn it. Who's got the
Bring
yeah.
the drawings." Yeah.
Who fucked up? I guess we all fucked up. Hi, welcome to Nightmares.
We start real chill.
The very first internet edition, because this is where we live now. Hi, Kat.
Hey.
Hi. I miss you in the flesh very much.
Yes. Yeah. I miss being able to have sort of a crowbar between me and my child while I do this show. So those will be
That's always
interesting.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah. So I might occasionally be muting my own hosting
Listen,
to preserve.
if the wheels fall off the bus of this show, it will be the least of the world's problems.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. The bar has been set much higher.
Yeah.
Hey,
So
that dowel rod is mine. Thank you very much.
that dowel rod is mine. Oh, parenting, the things you have to say in parenting.
No, that's enough.
Mine, I need to.
Okay, I'm gonna mute myself right now, and I'll be back in maybe 1 minute.
So I feel like you and I joke. So we've been doing this show for about 1.5 years, and we talk about the end of the world a lot, because let's not forget that before this happened, things felt kind of apocalyptic. Like, the election was coming. We've had almost 4 years of Trump. Things didn't feel like awesome before this, but now in retrospect, it was a lot more theoretical than what's going on now. So, this being a show about bad dreams, we have always kind of talked about, like, the format kind of demands that we talk about fears and weird shit. That segues very easily into apocalypse talk. It also usually segues really easily into into skin conditions and shit. So maybe we'll get to all of those tonight. We can hope. But yeah, Kat, do you want to say any? Do you want to unmute yourself and say anything? You're gonna have to unmute yourself eventually. Can you lock? Okay.
Yeah, I can't unmute myself because Shannon muted me. So
ask Shannon. You're right. Okay. So now we're talking. Hi.
Okay. Hey. Okay. Yeah, you are too fast for me. See ya. Mm-hmm. This is normally very good behavior, but this is how, this is how it goes.
Right.
So this is our first nightmare where, we're manifesting for me right now. Mm-hmm. Ripley, go find the cat.
I can make the cat a co-host, right?
Can you remute me? I'll be right back.
So if you have not been to Nightmares before, if you have not seen this show on the internet because it hasn't existed until now, this is a show where we talk to our favorite people about their least favorite dreams. And usually it is both fun and poignant and a very weird time. We have a lineup that I can really only describe as a dream lineup tonight. It is like, I don't want to be all like silver lining about something as awful as what's going on now, but this has allowed us to bring in guests who don't even live in New York. That's the magic of the internet. So Shannon, you want to unmask yourself first?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm the ghost. I'm the ghost, everyone. Just so you know.
All right. That's producer Shannon. She makes this whole thing happen, and I love her very much.
And it's a podcast too. So if you're watching at home, go check out the podcast.
Yes, we should talk about this too. So there you can donate to the venue at which this is usually run, which is the Red Room above KGB Bar.
They're
Donations
so
will
nice.
benefit both the Red Room and the KGB Bar, which is a real New York City institution. And if they are unable, obviously, to pay their staff right now, so the donations are going to pay the staff so that nobody starves, and hopefully KGB will come out of this alive, because otherwise they're going to be condos, and New York does not need any more condos.
No, it's a great place, and the staff themselves are like, they're super nice, and they've been the same the whole time we've been doing the show there. They're like old school. They're some of the greatest like bartenders and wait staff, like super nice. So
yeah.
So if you got them, smoke them their way. So
exactly. All right, you want to get this going?
Yeah, let's rock
All
it.
right. Our first guest is a comedian. She is a writer for Baroness von Sketch. She does an awesome show called Sandwich with Gaster Almonte, a friend of the show. He's been on before. He's one of my favorite people. We can talk about him. She also does a show called The Salomons with her wife, Iman El Husseini. And she's coming to us live from a bunker deep in the woods of Quebec. Please welcome to the stage, Jessica Salomon.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
How's it going?
It's going okay. We made it to Quebec. We left New York. Honestly, not that long ago. We should have left earlier, but things hit a point and we fled.
How was your fleeing experience? Because you guys are both Canadian citizens, right?
Yeah.
So they have to let you in?
They have to let us in, and pretty chill on the Canadian border. Coming home, we were the only. I mean, granted, we left really late, so it was probably midnight when we crossed. Like, it wasn't on purpose that we were trying to like dodge any police or anything. We're just like very procrastinating and like late risers. So by the time we got our shit together, that's when we went through. It was just us and one lady border guard. Usually, lady border guards, I find, are the worst because they like need to be extra tough or something. I don't know if you guys.
I think they have to show like they can be just as tough as the guy border guards. Like,
yeah. I've had like generally my bad experiences have been with lady border guards, but this one was very sweet. And then the issue is more just in Quebec, they're like, they've really cracked down. So like today we actually had a police officer come to the place that we're staying and mark down our passport info and record us like at this place. And so they're monitoring people's movements.
Wow.
And streets are barricaded and you can't go to like different regions. And they're not fucking around. Like we ordered our groceries. Normally it's just like volunteers bringing food to people that are over 65, but but we said that we just come from New York and they're like, don't move, stay where you are. We'll be right back.
God, I can imagine.
Yeah. So we made it here.
Is Canadian, and he lived in Montreal for like 12 years, and I have been sort of hinting that maybe now might be a good time for us to get the fuck out of here. But it doesn't seem to be working yet.
Well, because you don't have a Canadian passport.
I don't. No, he does, but I don't.
See, I have a lot of Canadian friends that married Americans, and they have to stay in the U.S. because they're not letting Americans.
Cool. That's cool.
Because I would invite you guys here. I really would. We're very we could use someone else to talk to.
The bodegas still have toilet paper and hand sanitizer, so we are okay for now.
And as far as Americans go, like that's a real like what's good for the goose is good for the gander type situation at this point. We really started that one on the you can't come in because we don't like where you're from thing. And you guys are actually what's the word? Oh, justified. So that's
I didn't want to leave, honestly. Like, I do love New York. I had a lot of guilt about it. I have a lot of guilt. I'm Jewish. I have a lot of guilt about everything. I felt like, I'm not a real New Yorker. We're coming up on like exactly 4 years of having moved there. And I felt like, the bodega is great. And right now we're nowhere near any bodega. So, but also no coronavirus.
Well, when you come back, I mean, they say you have to be in New York 10 years before you can call yourself a New Yorker. So this is going to have to count against your time. I'm sorry. I don't make rules.
But do we have to start at zero again, like sobriety?
Yeah.
Or, it depends on how long you're gone.
Yeah.
We'll see. Yeah. I mean, I'm hoping to come back soon, honestly, but we'll see.
Yeah. Knock on wood that get through it, but.
Yeah, the cop that came was very attractive though. And I don't know if that's because like we haven't seen people in a long time. I hadn't showered, I still haven't, but it could be, yeah. So
are you guys
Quebecers are hot.
Walks? Are you going out?
We're not allowed to go on a walk here. Actually, it's very strict. But we're now in like we're in a house when there's like an outdoor where we can be. We just can't go like on the road. And honestly, it's very tiny here. And the person we rented this place from told the neighbors, and they're all like pretty upset that we're here. So because we came from New York and they know that, and so we're just like we basically are like diseased like
You're
refugees.
The playhouse.
I know. So I know. which is comforting me at night when I think about like getting murdered, because now I'm freaked out by the silence and every noise like in the woods. But I'm like, they know that we're from New York. We at least have 2 weeks before they murder us, because they're
we will murder you right back.
Yeah, exactly.
This is the time to start your reality show, Canadian Plague House, though.
Yeah, it's true. Absolutely. I love that title.
But listen, let's talk about your dreams, because yeah.
Yes.
You sent me a few, and we can talk about all of them, because I kind of like the progression of them, and then we'll go to the art segment.
Okay, so these are all recurring dreams that I've had over the course of my life. The first chunk of recurring dream were all involved Nazis coming to get me.
I didn't draw that one, by the way.
You can. As long as it doesn't look like Nazi, like fan art or something.
Listen, when you look like Ava Braun, you have to be very careful. Sorry, just a thought. You have to be very careful about what Nazi imagery you draw.
Yeah, absolutely. So because, I went to a school which was very waspy. I think you could say that, right? Waspy. Yeah. And so there were only a couple of Jews there, including myself. And at the time I was inundated after school learning about Nazis, because this is when you're a kid and you're Jewish, you learn about it like so young. Like, it's a lot as an adult, the Holocaust, obviously, but especially as a kid, because it's just like you kind of learn that you're Jewish and about the Nazis at the same time,
right?
Because you're and it's just that's when you learn about that, and that there were these people called the Nazis that just wanted to kill all the Jews, and that's kind of when your parents are like, oh, and you're Jewish, and you're like, what? Like, no, what? Like this, so like, and then they're like, well, we're gonna send you to camp this summer with only Jews, and you're like, I don't know, do you love me? Like, what's happening here? This is they're like, this is what this, and also there was just that, the idea of like, we must never forget, like, or it's gonna happen again. And so I thought like I had to always be thinking and remembering constantly, or that if I stopped, it was like they were going to come again. And there was this movie, I think it was called Au revoir les enfants. It was like a foreign film about the Holocaust. You guys, I don't know but there was a scene where the Nazis come into this French school and they line up all the kids and they ask the kids who's Jewish, and because they don't know that that's a bad thing to like point to the Jewish kids in their class, they just like naturally are like, oh, this one. So I just was like, forget it, this is what's going to happen to me. I just was in my head, all my dreams were about being in my, the gym of my school, and the Nazis coming, and then them just asking, and the kids just innocently being like, oh, she is, because she once did a Hanukkah presentation, so we could know what that was, and she almost set the school on fire trying to light those candles, but it was her, and so that was a constant. And also like mostly a lot of it, which also being buried alive like that, because that's like really my main fear. Like the way, for me, like if you're like, what's the worst way you could die? It's being buried alive, but also so it was all kind of combined. It was like Nazis being buried alive. That was like, and the school thing. Those were like, that was like the first recurring nightmares for a long time.
Yeah. That is an intense triumvirate.
You're right. Yes.
Nazis, school, and being burned alive. I think kids would feel really
buried alive. Burned alive too is bad, but it was really it was buried alive. And I remember always like reminding people like in my family, like, please, like, make sure that I'm really dead. Like, I, just because, or like leave it open for me to be able to open it if I wake up, I don't know.
Right. No, I remember hearing about those like Victorian things where they had a bell for somebody to ring. And I heard about it when somebody was making fun of it. And I was like, that sounds like a great idea.
Please include that.
One double check, like ding ding. Sorry.
That's in my Death Rider.
Right.
Yeah. The bell. Don't leave it. No jewelry. I don't care about the jewelry. Just something for me to escape with. Yeah.
And I like that we're all totally skipping past the embalming process. That would have really been a spoiler for the whole situation.
That's true.
Assuming that they're just slapping us some Gladware and sticking us in the ground. Now there's a prep process, guys. We gotta remember that.
Gladware.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, buried alive is terrible, and the like Nazi thing seems tied into it too, because it's like clearly they used that was one of them. Many things that they did was push people in pits.
One way, yeah, definitely.
And so
they were terrible for sure.
So
I don't know when it stopped.
Yeah, what was your earliest time that you were having that nightmare?
Like, I mean, as far as I can, like the first nightmares that I remember. So I don't know, when I learned about it, maybe like when I was 7 or 8 or something, I think probably was maybe 8, 9. I don't know.
That's all. Single digits is like, that's a super intense.
Because by 12, you're already having your bat mitzvah and you've already learned everything. So that's already, so it had to be before, in the years before that. Yeah. I don't know when those stopped. It might've been once like I realized everyone else had learned about the Holocaust, and then I was like, okay, phew, I can relax now. They won't like turn around and point me out or something. I don't know.
I think also the idea that you're no longer like maybe holding up the whole thing yourself, that memory thing of like, if I don't remember personally every hour that literally be here on Thursday, like
I'm not the only one having to recall this. I also, I mean, I think there was a moment too where everyone like read about Anne Frank in school, and that definitely made me feel like more relaxed. Right.
I mean, it's like when you're at the age where they can start to be like, here are some unpleasant truths about the world that you might want to read about. Like, I think that's when you start processing these through some sort of like dream situation.
Yeah, my thing with Anne Frank was that I was like a very big procrastinator as a kid, and I like mostly all of my fears around her revolved around if I like ended up like her, that I would never have written in my diary, and like whoever found it would be so disappointed that it was just like hangmans and tic-tac-toes and not a like historical account from a child's perspective of a major world event.
Well, you also had some stuff that was like a little on the lighter side, like the whole skiing situation.
Yeah, later on when I was a teen and like early 20s. So I always had this recurring dream. I mean, later on in life, I think honestly, like I've never really had relaxed dreams. My wife she thinks that I'm always working because I'm always sweaty, like I'm like jogging in my dream or something because of how I look like when I wake up. But in this series recurring dream, I was always trying to get to a ski hill with different people, friends, coworkers, whatever, in different cases, and like I didn't have something that I needed, whether it was like the lift pass or like one of my skis or a boot or gloves, poles, whatever, and I always desperately wanted to ski, and I don't know really totally what it was about, but I was a really big skier and like did ski racing and stuff when I was in college, and I think I don't know what this is about. It's kind of embarrassing maybe, but I was like really, really good at skiing, and I remember like that there were like when I was into boys, like there were so many cases where if somebody saw me ski, they'd be like attracted to me if they weren't before. So I don't know if I was like with people that I was like, oh, they really have to see me ski, because if they do, like they're going to be really into me, and and so like I was like trying to bring them there. Yeah. Right.
I've never really thought of skiing as alluring before.
No, I mean, it's definitely not rock star, but it happened sometimes.
I think it kind of is. And I don't think I would have ever imagined that you would have been like, and here's my story of being kind of a sexy skier. Like I wouldn't, but it totally makes sense. It's like when a guy really needs to bring out a guitar, like he really wants to get you to do and play, because he's like, I know I'm really good at this. And I look,
it's like, the only thing I was like naturally good at.
Right. Like, let me show you my talent without being, like skiing is harder to like casually bring up at a party. Like you can't. Yeah. You can't.
I totally drew a picture of a boy that I had a crush on and let it fall at his feet by accident once, and that didn't go how I thought it would go at all. No, I would have been much better off pretending that I could ski or that I had ever been.
I'm actually surprised that didn't work. So Kid U was trying like that's not an off idea.
I was trying to woo them with my I don't, Jesus Christ.
But why did he like the drawing?
He was, well, because it's fucking creepy to be like, I drew a picture of you, but I'm not going to show you to your face. I'm just going to let it waft.
Okay.
Because we had lockers next to each other, and float gently to the ground, and maybe you'll notice. And it was just this moment of like confusion and horror on both of our ends.
Well, impressive artistically.
And here we are.
Recognized himself, so that's good.
Yeah. I
would
didn't want to brag, but
I would have fallen for that though, but I don't have the same standards as, teenage boys, obviously.
Well, part of this nightmare situation is that I draw a picture based on the nightmare that you told us about. So, can we reenact that moment of confusion and horror and show you the drawing?
Oh my God. Yes, this is kind of what it looked like. Oh, I love this. I guess there's some bullshit lesson in here about resilience. Absolutely. I mean, I did go down in one of my dreams just on one ski like that. Absolutely. There was another one where I think I might have had put a rollerblade on the foot that didn't have the ski and hope that wouldn't sink into the snow somehow.
Listen, man, you go to war with the weapons you have.
Oh my God, I love the turtleneck too. I haven't worn one in so long.
Hey, if you're up there for a while, it might be turtleneck season again.
No, it is full snow here. I would show you guys. It's crazy.
Yeah, if you were allowed to open your curtains.
Yeah, right. I'm afraid the cops are right out there.
Yes, thank you so much for coming on.
This is a pleasure.
I am so glad you guys made it out. I hope you are doing awesome. Stay safe up there.
I hope in 14 days your neighbors really, really chill out and maybe bring over a pie, just to be we're good now.
Yeah, I think they'll be fine. We just have to speak French and pretend that Iman's not an immigrant from an Arab country, and we're golden.
Whee! That's all. Yeah. All right. Good luck.
Thank you. Thanks for the drawing. I love it.
Thank you. Oh, if you want me to mail it to you, email me your address and I will mail it. I'll put a fake return address on it.
No, we can send it in Brooklyn and we'll get it when we come back.
Okay,
we'll be optimistic.
Perfect. Yeah, let's hope for the best.
Totally in denial here. Yeah. I'll see you guys soon in Brooklyn. Yeah.
Say hi to your wife. You guys
will.
And everything you're sharing about you guys out there is so funny. So keep doing it. I know you're probably feeling really cut off, but every time you send out something, I'm having a good laugh out here. So keep doing it. Bye.
Bye. Oh man. All right. It's happening. This is working out so far. I'm gonna knock some wood so that the whole internet doesn't break right away. All right, our next guest is a comedian. She tours with the Lady Parts Justice League. She is incredibly funny, and I just spent a week with her on a boat a couple weeks ago. Please welcome to the stage, Joyelle Nicole Johnson.
Hey guys, how y'all doing?
Good. How's it going?
I'm crushing it. I'm in the house. I have on devil ears that sparkle.
Hold on, I'm earring up. I'm earring up for.
Ear up, bitch! Ear up! Yes, there we go. Because we were on the Joko cruise and we did Cat to the Meowsicle, and that's why we both have cat ears. And I also just have on a tutu for effect.
Oh, excellent!
I'm ready for y'all. Hey, boo, how y'all doing?
You're doing God's work.
I'm touched that you dressed your bottom half for this. That's the highest praise you can get these days.
I didn't put on makeup or shower, but I did put on a tutu.
I showered for you guys. This is a hosting gig. I gotta do it up. Although to be fair, it had been a while, so this breaking the fast is what was happening there.
I feel more honored if you've done a shower when it's been a while.
Right.
Yeah, and the reason it's been a while is actually not because of the quarantine, but because right when the quarantine started, our tub backed up and the water will not drain. And so getting in there would be gross, right? So I had to put a step stool in there and take a shower on a step stool so that I wasn't in the water. And now I'm going to pull the shop vac out of the attic and try to suck out whatever the hell my kid probably put down there.
So all of my nightmares are reality based, and that sounds like a nightmare to me. So.
Yeah, that sounds like one of the worst practical nightmares ever.
That's how it goes sometimes. And it's a shame because right when it turned over 2 is I had just signed up for the Y so I could go to the shower there if this kept being a problem. So I was like, damn it, even my backup I can't go do because of course they immediately canceled it.
Oh God.
I would hope so.
All right. All right. We're done talking about my personal problems. Let's get into this nightmare.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, Jess came out the gate really hard talking about the Holocaust
Right.
And I feel really obligated to talk about slavery. Like, why? we gotta bounce from, you know, genocide to genocide. Like, this
Right.
is, I feel
That's
really
the
like,
subtext of this show.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. But I mean, I had a kiddie horror that I explained to Emily, was that, okay, when I was young, I got all of the good Halloween, like all the good Christmas toys. I got a Cabbage Patch Kid. I got all the holiday Barbies. And I also got My Buddy when he came out. But caveat, I got the black My Buddy. So homie was my skin complexion and we was having a good old time. I was taking him all over town. But then the movie Child's Play came out. And that ruined my relationship with My Buddy, because I started having recurring nightmares as a child of My Buddy murdering me in my freaking sleep. So, yes.
I mean, do you remember the song?
No, I blocked all of that out. It might be in my subconscious somewhere.
You want to do
My
it?
buddy, my buddy.
Sing it
I
wanna go, my buddy. Hey,
yeah, speaking of My Buddy, so I promised my daughter she could come in for your segment because she loves you and because she also wanted to do your art, which felt thematically appropriate because it's about dolls.
Yes.
So, and yes, she has a special dispensation for curse words in front of a child tonight.
I'm gonna try my best, Tug. How you doing, boo?
You doing okay? Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I don't know. That's my homie. When we were on the cruise, we were chilling in the waters of the Bahamas before we came back to this nightmare. So
We should have stayed. We should have stayed on the island.
You guys really set like the bar so high for yourselves and then had to fall off to literally like living nightmare.
Yeah.
I mean, we are in Brooklyn. We went from the Bahamas to Brooklyn, baby. Like,
yeah. And we're on the beach, like
knowing
what we're coming back to and knowing that, like, you know, things are going to kind of spiral out from here.
I can't imagine a higher pressure to relax. I would have been like, oh God, I gotta relax so hard because it's gonna be so
we were very focused on relaxing.
Our cat was scared of my mom's cat ears. He actually hissed for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
We already talked about.
Maybe he was traumatized by his time at the cat stud farm.
Yeah, no, I mean, I would think those would be pleasant memories. He had a really fun job.
You would
making new kittens.
But his reaction to the ears tells me maybe there's some trauma there.
Maybe he was just confused by my sudden change from a human into a cat, because that's all it takes.
Like more dark.
He's also maybe not super bright. Like, you know, if this is all it takes to make him think I'm an actual cat. But back to this doll situation, because I remember those dolls. I did not have one, but they scared the bejesus out of me, because, like, even before Child's Play came out, there was something very uncanny valley about them. And so what did you do with your doll? Did you keep it?
So I felt like I threw him in the trash. Like I think I threw him in the trash, but my mother might have taken him out of the trash. We found him when I went to college.
Wait, like, your mother might have taken him out, or did he find his way out, Joyelle?
I think he found his way out and was like, bitch, you're going to see me later. Oops.
Yeah.
There I did a big girl word. So yeah, I found, when I was packing to go to college at 18, I found my buddy doll in like one of my outfits. And I hadn't seen him since my childhood, since like maybe 15 years I hadn't seen this my buddy doll. So I think he might still exist.
What was your reaction then? Like, were you like, oh shit? Or was it like, oh, wait a second, right, I had that. Like, was it more chill?
I think I was chill because I was an adult and I was like, he hasn't murdered me yet.
Right.
So maybe he doesn't want to murder me. Maybe
and he clearly had the element of
very optimistic.
He had the element of surprise, because he's been to different houses. Like, this is maybe our third house at this point. I was like, oh, you made it to different houses. Okay. Toy Story, but a nightmare. Cool.
Right.
Yeah. So I wasn't messing with him, and I was very nice to him. I told him I was sorry. I apologized. And
Did he hear you?
I did, Tug. I did. I apologize to the doll. I was very, very skittish.
My sister was always afraid that her stuffed animals would get jealous of each other. So she had to sleep with all of her stuffed animals on the bed, and lest one of them get angry and murder all of them.
I didn't want murder, and I'm happy Toy Story didn't happen when I was a child, because I would not have taken that in a positive light.
Yeah, no, I don't think there's anything positive to be gained from that. Like, your toys are sentient when you're not around is not a great message.
I'm scared.
When do they start plotting?
You're scared. You're scared of Fred?
Well, I'm not technically scared, but I'm scared that he's watching me.
Is that one of your dolls, Todd?
He's a giant stuffed bear, actually, that Jean gave her. He's larger than she is. I could see him wondering if
No, I'm taller than him and larger than him.
Well, you are now, but not when you
Girl, you're taller than him. You got it. If he comes alive, you just karate chop that fool right in the neck. You got to go for the jugular.
Plus, he has a zipper. You can just unzip his back and take out all his stuffing.
But there'll still be a flop of the human.
A flop of
No.
Yeah.
Take his insides out. See, we don't have zippers. It's a real thing. I plotted it all out. I knew how I was going to take out my buddy. I was taking karate.
I do feel like I do feel a little sad for my buddy having been like your buddy and then being like, and then being shunted off to the fear box.
Did you have a buddy doll?
No, I did not have a buddy doll.
Yeah, no, Tug, my buddy was the gift that year for Christmas.
Yeah.
That was the gift.
It was a very popular toy.
It was a very popular toy, and I got it, and that's why I couldn't get kid sister, because my mother said, you already got my buddy, so you can't also get a kid sister. What?
Wow.
Kid sister
was good. Kid sister was the one I wanted more. I never got any like name brand toys. I always got to like see shit at your house 2 weeks after Christmas when you were sick of it. It worked fine. It was very cost effective for my parents.
I thought your mother, I forgot that the girl one was called Kid Sister. I thought your mother was like, I'm not giving you any siblings because I gave you this doll. And I was gonna be like, that's nice work, Mrs. Johnson.
Kid sister. That was a good theme song as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you have an actual kid sister? Do you have any siblings?
I have siblings from my father who did his little thing, but also I'm my mother's only child. So I'm like an only child.
It's the best of both worlds.
Spoiled. Yeah, exactly. It's the best of both worlds.
Right. Something for holidays.
Yeah. Awesome to be an only child.
Girl, crush it. Be the only child. Be selfish. You get all of their love.
Exactly.
I will be right back.
Okay.
All right.
Make it snappy.
Got somewhere to be. People got places to be in the quarantine. I like when we finish phone calls and we say, I gotta go. Where you gotta
Listen,
be?
my money is on Fred making an appearance. Fred's not the cat.
Okay.
Fred the giant stuffed bear.
Who's the guy in the back here? Behind you.
Yeah.
Little brown.
What's up?
Who's the little stuffed character right behind you?
Oh,
it's a monkey.
Stuffed monkey. Hang on. Jesus. Oh, Doug.
Yeah. Oh no.
Gizmo in the house.
Doug. Listen, come here. First of all,
for Joyelle, a nightmare. For me, a dream. Look at that fluff ball.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that is an actual nightmare.
I honestly thought you were going to be credit. I didn't know that was going to be a cat situation.
She was trying to show me the cat on the cruise ship, and I tried to explain to her that I did not like the cat, but she did not want it, and she forced me to look at a cat picture. And I looked at a cat picture, Tug, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I can't do it.
All right.
These are devil ears.
Listen, let's show your art, and then you are going to bed. You got it?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I let her do the drawing. So let's see. We're getting this up on screen.
Oh. Okay.
I like how he looks like. Oh my God, he's dressed like that time period though, because that's what Black man wore. It looks like a Coogee sweater.
She asked to do it, and I was like, sure, I'll let her draw, and then I'll draw one. But honestly, I'm like, oh, I can't do better than this. This is like a legitimate great nightmare drawing.
Yes, Tug. If his head was that big, I would be terrified. Thank you. That is beautiful. That is beautiful and terrifying. Terrifyingly beautiful. Yes, take that off my screen. I don't.
All right, Joyelle, thank you so
Doug.
much. I love you.
I want to go to
No,
Thank
you
you.
gotta go be with Daddy now.
Thank you for being
I
here,
like-
Joyelle. It's so nice to see
You
you.
don't have to go to bed. You just
I like live parenting. That's what I like.
I love you. All right, close the door.
We definitely offered up our share of it tonight.
Parenting in real time. Thank you guys so much. I love you both. You're gorgeous.
Thank you so much. Yeah, man. I am glad. I don't know. I actually really wanted one of those dolls when I was a kid, but in retrospect, I'm very glad that I did not have one. So I don't know. We should bring our kids to all of the shows. It can only improve things.
All right. Who's
All
up?
right. So let's see. Our next guest is an actor. He's a comedian. He is Arthur Everest on The Tick. Please welcome to the stage, Griffin Newman. Wait, is Griffin here? Yay, hi, Griffin. Hi.
I popped up accidentally at the beginning of the video, but now
Hey.
it's for real.
Hi, how's it going?
It's going all right. The thing I've really learned very quickly from everything transitioning to Zoom is how bad the lighting is in my apartment.
Oh, everybody looks like hot garbage.
Hot garbage,
Yeah.
but also just most corners of my apartment make me look like I'm in the Blair Witch Project. It is very hard to find a place that is brightly lit enough. I almost considered doing this from the toilet because it would have gotten the best shot. But
What is your lighting situation? Do you have like overhead fluorescence? Do you have like?
I have overhead. Now I want to see if I can even like, let's see. I got like, yeah.
Oh, you have a nice little IKEA shade on there.
It's a nice little shade. I like the lighting in my apartment generally for like relaxation, but when I have to be doing very serious show business performances like this, it's not great.
Right.
Well, you're also like, you're right about like the Blair Witch thing is, I think some of it's the angle.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
We tend to have the computer under us. So
You're
I have
also kind of selling it by wearing the hat.
I'm not helping matters by wearing that. No.
Right.
Well, you like stack your computer on books sometimes and because the light's coming down here. If you see yourself from up here, the light's better. But you're right. Like I'm cheating and using a desk lamp, but that's after like 4 meetings at work where I was like, I look like a vampire. This isn't working.
I was doing one yesterday where I was trying to light myself using my TV, but then I realized whatever was on my TV screen would end up in my glasses as well. So that didn't work.
I like that though. That's very mad scientist. It depends on the vibe you're going for.
Depends. I have to pick the right project to be airing on TV. Yeah.
How's your quarantine going?
It's going okay. I started very early because my mom got sick and thankfully now seems to be on the other side of it in pretty good shape.
Yeah.
But that was like early on in the tip of this. So I was like hyper alert, hyper paranoid, hyper freaked out from the get-go. So I feel like I've been quarantining for 5 years by now.
Right.
I'm good at staying home. Like I am, I think, somewhat of a hermit to begin with, but it is weird how much of a psychological shift there is when the option disappears, when you just suddenly feel like you can't go out. Previously, it used to be the opposite. It was me trying to convince myself that I should leave the house, and now it's flipped. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you in New York or?
I'm in New York. Yeah. Born and raised. Yeah. Which comes into play with this nightmare because the nightmare I'm talking about today is one I had when I was a child about how New York would feel during a crisis. And it keeps on echoing in my head now because it feels like the realization of these images that have been burned in my head for over 20 years.
Right.
Yeah.
You could, bring it. Let's hear it.
Talk about it.
So this is like, I was trying to pinpoint when I thought I had this. I was somewhere between like 8 and 11. But the thing I remember very distinctly was it was the oldest age. It was the last time I had a nightmare where I woke up screaming and ran to my parents' room. Like it was the last time a nightmare upset me that viscerally, and I was slightly too old to be reacting that strongly to a nightmare. But the crux of it was that there was a serial killer. There was like a supernatural serial killer who was on the loose in New York City, and the numbers kept on rising every day exponentially. It was like this, where just like every day you turn on the news and the number would have doubled from the day before. It went from 2 to 4 to 8 to whatever. But the supernatural element was the way he killed people was by making eye contact with them. And no one knew what this guy looked like. They couldn't even get like a police sketch because anyone who saw him died.
Right.
So
that is such a perfect New Yorker dream.
Perfect.
Like, don't fucking talk to me.
I know. You know, and I'm realizing I feel like I have a hard time with eye contact in general. And I wonder if this dream is the thing that like broke that in my head. But yes, it was some New Yorker who would try to make eye contact with you, and then you would like die within an hour, maybe.
But did you ever play that game when you were a kid where you would like sit in a group and you would all look at each other?
Wink murderer or whatever it was called?
Yeah, somebody would blink and they're the murderer. It's like a tag situation.
I think it had to come out of that. I have to imagine it came out of that game in the back of my head. But the dream very quickly became, because it was like such an abstract threat, it became sort of what we're dealing with right now, where it was like this question of how seriously should you take this? Is the solution to overcorrect and never leave the house again? Or do you need to go out to try to stand strong against this thing? And every time I would go out again with my parents after like being cooped up for 5 days, there would be that eeriness of less and less people on the street.
Right.
And sort of waiting to hear, like, when you saw other people on the street, are they acting strangely by not overreacting?
That really does.
From what you're doing. It was very, it stuck in my head. And then now every time the few times I've gone outside in the last like 3 weeks to get groceries, I feel that same way. Yeah.
I feel like the vibe on the street has changed, like, you know, day to day. I mean, personally, I feel like I get so resentful about being told to panic that I was more cavalier than I should have been at the beginning of all this.
Yeah.
But now, like, when people pass on the street, like, some people are still smiling, but most of it's like they're like, I can't look at you, you know, because. And
there's that weird thing where like you have resentment for the people who are smiling, certainly, but I also feel a little bit of like anger towards anyone I see who's out on the street, not recognizing that I also am out on the street at that time. Like when I go to the supermarket, I'm like, what are you idiots doing? Do you not know what's happening here?
Yeah.
And it's like, we're all just trying to survive this thing.
Yeah.
But it is strange. You start to judge like how freaked out the people on the street seem. How seriously do they seem to be taking this? Making like whip judgments on strangers.
I keep seeing groups of teenagers who are like clearly not related to each other, and trying to pinch zoom them apart with my fingers. Like
sure. Yeah.
Like, yeah.
But that's I think so much of what like boiled in. What stuck with me about this dream is that it was the feeling of being a child and not knowing who to trust and how seriously to take the thing. That my cues were entirely taken from how are my parents reacting to this? How are other people's parents reacting to this? What is the news saying? What is the government saying? And like what should I prioritize?
So this dream really had a build.
Yeah, it felt like it went on for weeks, if not months. Like it was a dream that really like built and built and built. I remember because I was an angsty, 8 to 11-year-old who was constantly fighting with my brother, that a big part of the dream was I hoped the silver lining was that my brother would get killed. And then I had this like, you know, like Ramona and Beezus, like, geez, I can't even get a break. But it would be that weird thing of like, we'd go outside for the first time in a week and we'd go to the local bodega and then we'd realize that the guy at the bodega had died, you know, like that constant kind of like people disappearing in the orbit. Yeah.
Right. Was this a recurring dream or was this just?
It was one dream. It was one dream that felt like an epic miniseries.
Right.
That I woke up from screaming and never had ever again. Any variation.
Just stuck with you since.
Yeah. I mean,
I feel like this, you could easily make this an epic miniseries.
Yeah. Well, a big part of the dream, maybe it wasn't a big part of the dream narratively, but it's a part I always remember, is that they were making a movie about this guy and Jack Nicholson was playing the eye contact killer. And I was like so confused asking my parents, but why would they cast Jack Nicholson? They don't know that's what he looks like. Like, how would they know who is the right actor to cast because they don't know anything about him?
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a very sophisticated question for a child to be asking.
But it's a reason this dream sticks with me, because there were so many banal details in it like that. Like there were so many elements that were just the weirdness of what is day-to-day living in a world where if you leave your house, you might not make it back. And the big denouement of it, I remember, I feel like I woke up very soon after this, was my parents dragged me and my siblings to some sort of dinner party where all the kids were put in a separate room, you know, not even the kids' table, but just like, here, they're chicken fingers and sit in this room and watch cartoons or whatever. And when we were in the room, a stranger, like an adult man who none of us recognized, walked into the room and made eye contact with all of us and smiled. And then we were all freaking out, trying to figure out if that was the guy. And then when we ran out to our parents, no one knew, no one could account for who that guy was, but somehow we weren't dead.
Huh.
Like the dream lasted for another couple hours after that, past the limit. Because I guess it was like the Ring rules.
Right.
You know, like 7 days after you watch the tape, you die. It was something like within an hour, if you make eye contact with this guy.
Well, also this virus isn't really affecting kids. So maybe you dreamed this whole thing into existence as a
honestly,
child. I mean, I don't want to put that on you, but
this is like prophetic dreaming, not just because of the virus stuff, but the specific actor's thought angle. Like, that's the part where I'm like, damn, you were just accidentally dipping into the force and pulling out a dream.
I know, like with years, as time has gone on, and I go back to this dream in my mind, I go like, damn, that thing was like pretty well written. Like I wish I could consciously write a script as good as this dream was. I don't know if I watched the dream in my unconscious now in my 30s, I would still find it as gripping. But when I look back in my mind,
I was like, I'm sure.
I was like, that was like a really good story. Yeah, it had really
arc. Like, it
had like a arc.
Yeah, we talk about that a lot on Nightmares, is that a lot of nightmares end up being kind of a Mobius strip.
Right.
They fall back on each other, they collapse at the end. There's a lot of kind of spiraling in, you know, or spinning back to the same moment, kind of has a coda that repeats or whatever. But
totally. And I feel like most of my dreams, like a lot of people, it's that thing where within a dream, suddenly the details change dramatically. The person you were talking to that used to be your mom starts being an ex-girlfriend or whatever the thing is. And this was like, in my memory, so linear. You know, it just felt like I slept for 8 hours, and for 6 of those hours, I was living this thing.
Right.
And there weren't any sort of like bumps in logic within its own weird high concept.
Now,
it
feels like you're bragging.
I'm sorry. Once again, I'm trying to make it clear. I'm not bragging, because I'm still jealous of the younger me who got that dream.
Right.
You know, I feel like I peaked early dream-wise.
Right. So it's a humble brag.
It's a humble brag. It's a humble brag. Yeah.
I do want to know, did you go to school? Like, did you have to go to school after you had that dream? Like, was it?
I did. I'm all but certain it was a school day, because I remember being really unsettled by it and having to tell kids about it in school. I'm pretty certain it was a school day. Yeah.
Because I had a dream that's like I only had once and stuck with me a long time like that. But I was like 8, and I remember feeling like, why the hell am I going to school? I just lived for 8 hours.
Right.
This like intense, super terrible dream world, and I just escaped from Skeletor's cave filled with the people from V while I'm hanging out with He-Man, who is also my brother, because I got like, and I just did that, and I'm exhausted, and I could really use the break. And I was like, I can't do second grade right now. This is bullshit.
It felt like that, and I feel like I also woke up early. Like I probably ran into my parents' room at like 4 in the morning. So they were trying to convince me to go back to sleep, but I was like, A, I'm not going back to sleep. B, I can't go to goddamn school. Are you kidding me?
Right.
It's gone through like a trial. Yeah.
No, I mean, that's an earned mental health day.
I think so. I didn't have the terminology at the time. Otherwise, I would have invoked that. Yeah.
For real.
Kids today, they have it.
Now they have it. They have it in their back pocket. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was intense. I can't wait to see the art from this one.
Yeah. All right. Shannon, should we get this up?
Okay. Yeah. Oh, wow.
So I didn't cast Jack Nicholson in the role.
But I didn't give you that detail. And
serial killer.
I mean, part of the dream was we didn't know if he looked like Jack Nicholson or not.
But this is the guy who comes to mind when I think serial killers. He's fairly generic, but you know, but creepy. It can hurt you.
Yeah, and plain white T-shirt feels very like a presidential assassination attempt, dude. You know, he's got the uniform. And I like the tourist detail, because there was something so specific to the dream about it happening in New York, and like the New York cynicism of people being like, I'm not taking this seriously. He's not gonna fucking get me.
Right.
You know?
Well, only jackasses from Iowa actually look you in the eye.
Of course, yeah. Most of us were immune to this, antisocial New Yorkers. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Listen, send me your address. I will send you this.
I will. I will claim that. Yeah.
I can This is something I forgot to tell everybody. I can send you your art. I can keep it for the duration, or I can ritually burn it. It is your choice. I am happy to do any of it.
I would love to have it on my wall. Yeah, I will send you my address.
You have this whole blank wall you can put it on.
I do. I have too much blank space. Another thing I'm realizing through doing video conferences, I have poor lighting and too many blank walls.
All right. Thank you so much, Griffin.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right, Griffin. Thank you so much. Man, that's to be honest, I do kind of envy people when they have like the straight linear kind of, because like sometimes I wake up and I'm like, oh, I just had like an entire movie as a dream, and then I start recounting it to myself. I'm like, oh no, that's garbage. That doesn't make any sense at all. All right, so yeah. Hi. All right, we're gonna keep this moving.
I'm not worried about. Look at me, she says. Look at me. Look at me.
Yes, look at you. Hi. Hi.
Say hi, Ripley.
Yeah.
We'll play. All right.
Our next guest.
I'm not like, wait, it's traumatizing to move into another nightmare after these 3 blocks, but like, that's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's not so far, but let's keep rocking.
Yeah, no, this is also kind of a blockbuster nightmares. We usually have 4 guests. We have an intermission in the middle where everybody can like go to the bar and drink and,
this is
like
a bit
chit
of
chat for a while. Maybe actually now would be a good time to reiterate that if you would like to donate to the Red Room /KGB bar, there should be a link at the bottom of on the YouTube page. If I was a smarter person, I would have written that link down and like put it to the camera. It's been a long fucking week.
Maybe Shannon can hold that up at the end or something, can work on that.
Yeah, or something. I don't know. Let's talk about my faults.
It's actually in the text below the video too.
Oh, yay. Okay, good. Thank you for being smarter and better than me in all things.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
I like that it looks like you're the little ghost in the promo talking to us.
Yeah, that's possibly my favorite thing happening here. All right, you guys, our next guest is an actor. He's a comedian. You may know him from The Big Bang Theory, from Speechless, or if you are a big fan of 90s New York pop punk, from the band Egghead. Please welcome to the stage, John Bowie.
Hi, guys.
Bowie. I told you I was going to fuck it up. I just didn't tell you how.
You fucked it up in a different way, though. That was exciting.
Yeah.
John Bowie's fine. I'm not, submitting for residuals or something. You don't have to use my full SAG name.
So you're in Los Angeles. Tell us how things are in Los Angeles.
Well, it's funny in the little chat group. It's it's as weird as anywhere, and it's weirdly desolate. There is a little more eye contact I'm finding, oddly enough. Griffin Stream was incredible. I'm also a native New Yorker. It spoke to me. The idea of somebody killing somebody by making eye contact is amazing. But LA is, sincerely or not, a slightly more friendly town, and so people are looking at each other and waving and kind of sharing a sort of here we go kind of thing. You're at Trader Joe's together. It's actually not unlike the way it was, I hate to say it, the way it was in New York immediately after 9/11. Yeah.
Right.
Where there was a general sense of freshman orientation camaraderie going on. Right. Where everyone was sort of, we're in this together. LA has a little bit of that. It's LA's typically temperate weather is just mocking us, but we go out and walk the dogs. They closed down all the hikes and beaches and parks and stuff. I mean, they did it unofficially, but now there's like guards posted because people were being stupid. But it's just weird. It's just weird no matter where you go. It's just incredibly weird. I'm not a particularly, I'm fine with being a loner, but I discovered in these past couple of weeks that I like to be a loner on my own terms. I want to go out and go to the movies by myself, but I want to be in the movies. Right. So that's been an interesting bit of introspection that I did not expect.
Oh, the learning things about yourself situation that's happening here. I do not like it. I don't want to know this much about myself.
I would
No.
say it's
There's a reason I hide this shit from myself.
Right, right.
Well, we're all getting like, I feel like we are seeing a population that has had largely freedom for a really long time see what that really is, like at its
Yeah.
core, just literally the ability to decide where you go.
Mhm.
Joyelle did the shout out to slavery at the beginning of hers, was like, that's why that's such a nightmare, that literally somebody can tell you what you're allowed to be and when you're allowed to leave, and that's like literally the word liberty, like that's your liberty, and that's so cool that this
Are
is
we calling it a shout out?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That was
I don't want to get hung up on. I'm being pedantic, but a shout out.
Well, I was looking for the alliteration, really, just desperate for the double S's there.
Fair enough.
Right back to the SS. Now we're back to the Holocaust.
And we're back.
We stay on theme here at Nightmares regularly.
Great. I guess we can add, history's tragedies to our line of things that we always come back to.
Always.
Can we please start talking about like getting shit on our faces again?
Oh God.
I had, it's funny, after we exchanged emails, Emily, I actually had a shitmare a couple nights ago.
Really?
Yeah, and which I've had before, but this was a really interesting one because as they go, but it was me at brunch with my wife and my in-laws, and I stepped away to use the urinal and shit my pants at the urinal and was unable to do anything about that, which is very straightforward. Like, nobody feels clean right now.
Right.
We all kind of constantly feel soiled by just going outside. So it was a very clear, like, I don't think you need a PhD in psychology.
There's not a whole lot of subtext there. That's pretty much all text.
Yeah, it's pretty straight. My for the most part, my subconscious is a pretty shitty freshman year creative writing major.
Is your toilet paper situation okay?
We're good, thank you.
Good.
God, I went on Tuesday morning. Rite Aid got a delivery, and I went and brought back an 8-pack of Charmin and carried it over my shoulders as if I was carrying like a buck that I just brought back to the family.
Hero action, big time.
Some real hunter-gatherer shit, man. It was unseemly. It was toxic, is what it was. It was toxically masculine in the way I brought that Charmin back into the house.
Did you grunt the whole way home just to really sell it? Like,
no, of course I did.
Now, are you rationing it out? Like, here's your 4 squares for the day.
We're being pretty conscientious. There's a visitor. I'm in my son's room because it's closest to the router. You can come in and say hi. Well,
really, you're like the 3rd kid on this show, so don't worry about it.
Anything, buddy. I will. As soon as I'm done with this, I'm going to read your comic. You had to do a comic today for his homeschooling.
Hell yeah, that sounds amazing.
Yeah.
This is the new like face of performance everywhere, is your kids coming in the middle of your set.
We are all that BBC guy.
Yeah,
with the girl in the yellow jacket. I was thinking about her moves today.
Yeah.
Like, inspiring level of
She was
energy.
the best.
You set the bar too high. None of our kids are being that cute.
No, it's true.
It's true. Yeah. No,
That
mine
girl,
should
28 now. I don't know. I'm not. I don't have to. Yeah, I'm just assuming. What is time? I don't...
A week ago, I was talking to a friend of mine in LA, and that week, everybody still seemed really like post 9/11 kind on the streets. And he said that everybody out there was being a dick. And I got really smug about that, because I was like, well, that just goes to show that like New Yorkers like pretend to be mean, but they're actually nice. Whereas in LA, they pretend to be nice, but they're all dicks. So I'm actually kind of disappointed that people are being really nice.
No, I understand that. No, believe me, as a native New Yorker, I spent 30 years being remarkably smug about Los Angeles. But, it's just a bunch of people who watched jobs vanish and are trying to hold it together in, I got to say, larger apartments. We're spread out. It's just, it's a question of square footage. It's not qualitative. It's purely a market demand thing. Our places are bigger. It doesn't.
Yeah. And you have yards.
We have a modest yard. The upstairs neighbors, we're in the bottom of a duplex, and the upstairs neighbors have a vegetable garden, and they've had for a few months. And I was like, I think they either knew or they've just always been preppers.
Right. Oh, I'm kind of regretting my like poo-pooing all the prepper, I don't know who's laughing now.
Well, it's not them because they're not big laughy types, but generally speaking, I see your point.
Where there's a little bit of roof space that you can get to from like the set. We live above a pizzeria, and then there's like so there's like halfway up there's a door out to the roof, and I've been considering asking the pizzeria people if they have a key to that so we can like put some plants and stuff out there, like because you know they seem like rule benders, and I think they would let us do it.
Throw down some basil for them. They're gonna be down.
Exactly. Yeah. We'll grow all the herbs.
Are they essential? Are they still operating? Because right now, pizza downstairs would be.
They are definitely still operating. I feel like I'm not sure that's their only business.
Fair enough.
Yeah, let's just say they're providing a lot of essential services.
Yeah, they're making a lot of deliveries.
Yeah. But I also spent a long time researching this like hydroponic herb garden you can apparently keep in your house, but then they're like, oh, but if it's in your house, you need to get grow lights. And I'm like, oh, there's $70 a month I don't have. So yeah, I'm gonna cheapskate my way into starvation.
If I didn't buy grow lights in college when I wanted to learn how to grow weed, I'm not buying them now. Like that's, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're just trying to fatten up our dog for the inevitable.
Oh yeah. Well, you saw my cat. I mean, that's a week's worth of food right there.
You got to get the big Instapot for Gizmo. He's not gonna eat quart.
Because you want to slow cook it, because you want it tender. That's just common sense.
Right. And you know a cat's gonna be tough meat. They're always
him, man. He's
everything you can do. Anything you can do to tenderize that, you should. Common sense.
Keep petting him. Just keep petting him.
God, your daughter's not still in the room, is she?
No, she is not. But she will be forced to watch this later. But yeah, so let's talk about the dream. I loved the dream you sent, actually.
Well, it's so, I mean, compared to the death and destruction that has been running through this show thus far, it is extremely mild. It's just, it remains one of the funniest nightmares I've ever had. And it's the rare occasion where I woke up and I had a dream that I told someone about and it actually made them laugh. You know, like I actually, because we're all like, oh my God, I had the weirdest, craziest dream. I'm like, yeah, that is crazy. It's not particularly funny. Mine was so oddly specific and so based in deep-seated anxieties that I have as a performer that it was on the nose yet completely out of the blue in a very exciting narrative way. I'm overselling it. Anyway, it's super vanilla though, and I'll explain what it is. So I had this was actually before I decided I wanted to be an actor. This would have been when I was still in my band, but I was harboring kind of deep closeted urges to become an actor. It was something that I always kind of wanted to be, was too embarrassed to talk about. And so I would have these occasional actor nightmares as if it was my subconscious saying, you can't do it, you're not equipped. And in one particular dream I had in my mid-20s, I had a dream that I got cast on Saturday Night Live. And I was given an office. This would have been like 1995, let's say. I'm given an office and I get it's empty and no one's around, but I get a phone call and I pick up the call. I was doing a ton of office work at the time. So like the sound of a phone ringing was sort of an anxiety trigger for me, that kind of high-pitched digital 90s phone sound. So I pick it up. It's Lorne Michaels, and he assigns me an impression. He tells me I have to immediately get to work on an Eric Stoltz impression for this coming week. And what is hilarious to me about that is that while I am an Eric Stoltz fan, he's so understated as an actor that I don't even know where you would begin to. This isn't Nicolas Cage. This isn't Christopher Walken. This isn't like 1950s Ronald Reagan. Peter Lorre. I don't know what you would hang on to that would be like, oh, well, obviously, if you're going to do an Eric Stoltz, you have to have blank. Right. I have never seen anyone before or since even attempt an Eric Stoltz. I mean, you could do an impression of him as Rusty in Mask, but it'd be the worst possible taste.
Can you make your eyes like sea glass green on demand? I mean, I feel like that's the only.
Aside from that, I don't know what else you could do to like hook it in.
You could put on his outfit from Pulp Fiction, but people are just going to think you're the Big Lebowski.
Exactly. There is it. That's the problem. If you dress up like the dealer, you're going to look like Jeff Lebowski, and red hair or no.
Right.
So it just felt lose-lose. And I went out into the hallway to see if I could find anyone in the hallway of this Dream 30 Rock I was in, and there was nobody around to help me at all, anywhere. And I was completely alone, not up to the task, and failing someone who I admired. I was wearing pants, but beyond that, it was completely just pure anxiety, pure performer anxiety of I am not adequate. I am not equal to the task that is in front of me. And there was also something interesting because like I try to generally in my work keep it relatively small. And I admire that about Eric Stoltz. So I think there was a part of me that like saw myself in the, I don't know, it's one of the more layered dreams. Again, no Holocaust. Hitler's not chasing me. It's pretty mild stuff. I'm owning my privilege here.
Right.
I lead a very privileged existence where I can have an anxiety nightmare about Eric Stoltz. I get it.
I have to tell
that's
you
where I am.
That in the course of drawing this, I looked up Eric Stoltz, and I don't like. So the thing that came up is like Eric Stoltz then and now.
That's not fair. That's not fair at all.
At some point, he actually looked like Rocky Dennis.
That's
but
not
he's grown
fair.
out of it.
That is the worst Russian clickbait I have ever seen. That is profoundly unfair to Eric Stoltz. Oh. If anyone is watching this, by the way, and wants to post a video of them doing a solid Eric Stoltz impression, I will be forever in their debt. Let me just put that out there.
Internet, you have your marching orders.
Hashtag
me
Eric
up on
Stoltz
social
challenge,
media.
bitches. Let's see it.
Yeah.
I want to see because there's like Daryl Hammond or somebody is watching this. He's not, but you know what I mean. Some like incredibly gifted mimic is watching this, and it's just like, oh yeah, no, Eric Stoltz. It's real simple.
Oh,
you need
please can we make this be? Please let this be a thing. Did I just pray to the internet? That's disgusting. All right.
I'm holding out hope that Daryl Hammond is watching us. Come on.
He could be. All right. You guys want to see some art?
Yeah.
All right.
I can't wait to see this.
Oh my God.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's incredible. Oh my God. And it was the mid 90s. So you've got the cuffed jeans.
Yeah. I mean, you know, you do what you can with the information that you I just, and it occurs to me now that you're like I have made a picture of you on the internet calling Eric Stoltz an asshole, but you know, hey.
It doesn't call him out specifically in the drawing, so it's not gonna get around it.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not gonna hear about it.
That is magnificent. Send that to me immediately, Emily.
All right, excellent. John Ross Bowie, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for hearing my privileged anxieties.
Anytime, my friend.
Yeah, I'm gonna do surgical mask squash now. Take care.
And tell your kid if he wants to pop back to show his comic book at the end of this. You know, you can always ping Shannon. I want to see it.
All right, let's move this along. Our next guest is Robyn Hitchcock. I'm just gonna make that face. Yeah, he is a musician of very much renown. And that's my note, but it's renown, a lot of renown. I should probably stop talking now. Hi, Robyn.
Hey, Emily.
How's it going?
How are you? It's all right. How is everything?
Oh, it's going.
Good.
Yeah, so you're in Nashville. You are alive. Everything is fine. I feel like the subject of the evening is also everybody's like, "You okay? Are you okay?"
Yes, it's.
I
mean, it's just like the whole outside world is like wallpaper that's pasted on the windows. You know, it's basically like being in a space station.
Right.
We occasionally go out. Well, the space stations that have windows with Earth views, you know, and I have all the views of the street I live on. But occasionally there's people in them. But it's very quiet. When it all began, it felt like a sort of extra Christmas or Thanksgiving. But now, but then there's still, you know, there's still these empty buses that go by, and then there's people jogging and people on the phone. so there's like flashes of what seems completely normal. But otherwise, you know, we've got supplies, and and I'm staring at you, and I've got a lamp on my face. Here's another lamp. Oh, blimey, that's a bit bright.
Oh, but it'll even out. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that's
You
giving
like
you
that?
this very saturated thing happening, which
I like saturated
I'm
colors.
never fucking
Look, here I am in the dark.
Ah!
Let's try. Then there's this one. Oh, I think, yeah. Oh, hello.
It's excellent. It's all excellent. So Robyn, you were going to be a guest on Nightmares a couple months back, and then there was an entire plane snafu, and now through the beauty of the internet, you can actually like be a guest. So yay!
I've appeared. Thank you for summoning me up.
Thank you for coming to my home via a tiny box. Yeah, so I mean, let's see. Kat, should we just keep rolling? Should we just like roll into dreams immediately? Sorry, I'm like,
Yeah,
this is not my best hosting work. I'm just like, I don't know, should we just do the thing? Let's just do
Because
the
I'm a
thing.
lonely old lady, but I'm also forcing our last people to get maybe a little drunker than they want to get for this bit.
Yeah. I don't know. I keep it professional.
To be fair, I mean, anybody reviewing for the first time, this is a show normally held in a bar. It's not untoward to have be in a couple by the end of the show. But yeah, let's rock. Robyn,
Hello, Kat.
I'm excited.
I've been popping Xanax this whole time.
What's your nightmare?
Yeah.
Which?
Oh.
Hello?
Oh, sorry. So yes, you want to go ahead and tell us your nightmare?
Which one, me or Kath?
You. I pointed at you like you can see what the fuck I'm doing. You, Robyn.
It looks like you're pointing at Kath, whom I can't see.
No, but you're the star attraction now. We want to hear about your nightmare.
My nightmare. The recurring nightmare that I've had pretty much for the last 30 or 40 years is, oh, look, you've disappeared. Am I still there?
Yes.
Oh, good. It's just that there's a certain place in every room that is the wrong place to be. It's an evil spot. And I have a knack of going into the room and finding it. And the closer I get to it, the more the evil becomes apparent. And then, according to my partners, I mean, in sequence, but they've all said this over the years. I put on a really strange, horrible kind of psycho child voice, and then I threaten to kill everybody. I'm under threat, you know, in the dream. So the hairs on my back stand on end, and I am so scared I become very aggressive. And I just do this, I'm going to tear you into tiny pieces now. You know, I've never heard myself do it, but it's kind of horrific, apparently. I mean, apart from that, I'm generally okay as a partner, I think. But it's just that I get these psycho dreams about once a week or so. And if I'm by myself, I just wake up. I don't know what noise I've made. Yeah.
I feel like that voice is going to repeat in my nightmares for the rest of my life.
Yeah, that's
well,
intense. That's a really I would be so tempted to have you ever tried to tape yourself to hear it?
Mama.
I'd have to leave the tape on all night, you know, because I don't know when I'm going to do it. But generally, I sort of, I don't know, and I go back to sleep. But Boy, but I never liked dreams. I always had nightmares as a kid. They're just, I can't remember what they were, but to me, dreams have always been bad. So when I was little and I'd hear songs going, "May all your dreams come true," or, you know, Roy Orbison's song "In Dreams," I'd think, no, you know, get out of it. Take it away.
And so did you have a version of this dream when you were a kid, or was this like an adult life recurring nightmare?
I think it's probably been with me since my 30s, which is, you know, more than 30 years ago. I think I had my own special nightmares as a kid, and then they were probably customized as a teenager. And this is the older me maturing.
Right.
Still finding the evil spot after all these years.
Right. It's always there. I mean,
well, I know where it came from. I read about it in a Carlos Castaneda. Do you remember him? He was probably before your time. Your parents would have read it in the 70s.
my parents absolutely had like a little shelf of Carlos Castaneda books.
Right,
It
and they
did seem
would
to
have
help.
had. Did they have Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance?
They did not, but my my hippie English teacher did.
Patriarchal Attitudes by Eva Figgis.
And now you've lost me.
Oh, okay. Well, it was just stuff from a certain era, and so if you were a groover back in 1970, which I was, and that's what I wanted to be, you read this Carlos Castaneda book about going and taking peyote, mescaline, and going on a sort of enlightenment retreat. And one of the things was that in the room, every room has a good spot and a bad spot. I think the good spot is orange and the bad spot is purple, or the other way around, something like that.
Right.
And my dream seems to have adapted that Castaneda story. What's your mug? I've got this little Japanese notes.
Aww.
Not quite sure where it's from. Where are we? Little muggy. What have you got in yours?
So
I mean,
this is
not in it, but what's the
Jackalope Coffee. This is my friend's coffee shop in Chicago, and I drew them this little jackalope who looks very worried.
oh,
Right on.
Fat
Brand.
worried
sweet.
animals are my favorite.
You like worried animals?
Embarrassingly, it's full of kombucha because that's the person I've become.
You don't drink your kombucha from the bottle. What are you drinking, Kath?
Silver Yeti filled with root beer. So, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, I can't drink a real beer watching the kid by myself. So,
have you considered getting her drunk?
I'm starting to think about it right now because I'm hearing a lot of sounds from my kitchen that I'm pretty suspicious about. So, yeah, she's getting out some roasting pans or something. There's going to be a reckoning after the show. So.
Robyn, would you like to see your art?
Yeah.
I'd love to see my art.
All right.
You nearly gave it to me one night in New Jersey, but again, you couldn't. Oh, look, here we are. Let's have a look.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So, you know, I did not mean to sort of like, you know, subtly pull in that Castaneda situation, but, you know, it must be buried in my subconscious somewhere too. But I'm
may have picked it up from your, yeah.
And your shirt detailing is fantastic.
Sorry?
The shirt, the fashion is always on point. It's like,
I mean, you know, you're a man of patterned shirts. I felt like it would be wrong of me to just put you in some, you know, some bullshit shirt.
Thank you. It's very on brand. I should have worn my polka dot for this one. Actually, it's so nice to dress up. You know, we don't get the chance much now.
It's true. It's true.
And there I am standing on a patch of evil.
I also like to imagine that you don't have any shirts that aren't awesome. So, you know, like, I don't know what your house situation is usually, but I'm glad that you're wearing a very nicely patterned shirt tonight.
I have a closet full of very brightly colored shirts.
I was just gonna say, if you ever do another like online sharing thing, you should do like a closet tour, because I would love to see, like, you've got to have some choice shirts collected over the years, especially if you travel, like people who tour, I feel like you get the best opportunities to find cool stuff to pick up and like trick out your stash.
I've got a good lot. We do have my wife Emma and I have an internet show on Wednesday evenings, and I'll bring some more show, but we can't move the camera. It's just that the laptop. It's like, Emily, are you in front of the laptop?
I'm on in front of a desktop, so I can kind of do this, but I can't, or I can push it off the back of my desk. But yeah, I can't move it around. There you go.
All right.
I also don't have I don't have any cool shirts.
That's not true.
But yeah, Robyn, thank you so much for doing this. Thanks
for having me.
Entirely awesome, and yes, thank you.
And sooner or later we will meet up, and you can give me the artwork.
Absolutely.
I think the date has been rescheduled, but there is, we should be allowed out of the house by October.
Yeah.
And,
your lips to God's ears.
So come along to the nearest point to you, and that would be great.
Yes, absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
All right, and thank you. Stay safe.
Stay safe.
Kath, I love that your lamp stand.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, that is actually a really cool lampstand. Okay, so we have one more guest. Our last guest is Martha Plimpton, which I'm going to make that face again because Martha Plimpton. And hi, how you doing, Martha?
Oh, hi.
Hey. Oh, hi.
I didn't see you there.
That's the best oh hi, I didn't see you there in the history of oh hi's. I didn't see you there.
Yeah, no, that's
I
right.
was practicing my scales because I was inspired by Mr. Robyn Hitchcock. Get back to the old piano.
Very. I feel like now you should just be the musical guest. We can just, like.
How you guys doing?
Man, we're doing
a show. Let's get straight to it, shall we?
Hey, listen, you have a victory garden. Can I come by and get some vegetables?
Well, when they've grown, fuck yeah.
All right, excellent.
I don't know if we're allowed to swear.
No, you're allowed to, like, all the kids are on a pass for swearing tonight.
Yeah.
And my kid already knows that
of course you may.
Words, but she knows that they're to be said by ladies talking about the news. Grown ladies talking about the news are allowed to swear.
Are okay to swear.
Yeah, so we're good to go. And nightmares are going to get folded into that rule now. So
all right, so we're going on hour and a half here.
Oh, nobody has anything else to do.
What do you want to know? You want to know about my nightmares?
Yeah. Let's talk about your night. We can talk about whatever you want to, but yes, definitely let's talk about your nightmares.
If you had a scheduled list of questions, I'm here for them.
All right.
Well,
I'm not a fucking journalist.
Well, and I will tell you this, Martha, you were like fangirling a little bit over Robyn Hitchcock earlier. Yes. I'm gonna fangirl over you. I was so excited that you're gonna be on the show. And I feel terrible that we made you wait so long, that we got you a little bit pickled.
No, it's fine. I'm extremely drunk.
That's a bonus.
That can only serve us well.
Okay, good.
Oh, so I should have said when I was introducing you that you also co-run an organization called A is For.
That's right.
An abortion rights activist group. It, just because
which you, Emily, have done wonderful things for us.
Ah, thanks.
Emily did edited and put together and basically compiled compiled the artists. You don't compile artists. She gathered the artists together to make this wonderful comic anthology of clinic escort stories, which is really, really cool. And look, we know each other from before then, but Emily did a beautiful, beautiful job. And I thank you, Emily, for that.
Thank you.
And you can get it on our website, as4.org.
And look, I feel like they're trying to do a lot of sneaky things with abortion rights, but with all the other shit going on.
So much.
It's not so sneaky. It's not so sneaky. No. Here's the crazy thing is 5 of the most and we're not going to take a lot of time on this because this is about nightmares, although this is a sort of national nightmare. I guess it qualifies.
Yeah.
But 5 states, when they heard about the coronavirus coming to the country, and knew that it was going to be a major problem because of our incompetent, imbecilic government. The first thing they did was go to their state legislatures to put forward bills that made abortion an elective procedure, meaning that it would no longer be available in their states, effectively banning abortion in their states.
Yeah.
They didn't go to their state legislatures and say, let's expand Medicaid, or let's expand COBRA, or let's extend COBRA, or let's expand the ACA, or let's make free COVID-19 testing for every citizen of the state. That wasn't their priority.
Funny.
Yeah, isn't that funny? Their first priority was to go after abortion. So anyway, that's all I think I need to say about that.
Everything is great.
Yeah.
Everything is great.
Funnily enough, none of my nightmares have to do with abortion, like directly.
Right.
By the way, I have to ask a question. When you talk about your dreams, by the way, I knew an actor, his name was Richard Easton, a wonderful, wonderful actor. And one of the most hilarious things he ever said was that nobody, well, he said it more hilariously, but I don't remember his exact words. He said, nobody wants to hear your dreams. It's the most boring thing you could possibly force anybody to listen to, is your dream. Because dreams are so personal, right? They're so about your own life, obviously. They come from your subconscious or whatever, whatever part of your brain they're from. So it's never interesting to hear other people's dreams. And so that's why I feel like when we talk about dreams, we try to give them a narrative, which they never have.
Right.
Is that fair?
I think that's fair. But what I have found is that nobody particularly likes to hear about dreams, but people like to hear about nightmares.
Yes.
That's like where you get into like the really fucked up
because nightmares aren't expected to have a story.
Yeah. Well, it's just, it's basically like a way to be like, what are you afraid of?
Right. But then even when we talk about our nightmares, we think they have to have a story. Like we want to tell people why we think we had that nightmare, what we think it was about, right? And that's fair enough. I mean, that's like the human imperative is to interpret what the fuck we're thinking about.
Right.
Unless you're Donald Trump or Mitch McConnell or anyone else.
Narrative, right. And then you just run your flagellas in the air while screaming about it.
Oh, Kat, why?
But so because of this, I feel like my dreams and my nightmares kind of like do like they crosshatch. They kind of go, and hey, maybe it's the wine talking. I've been sitting here for almost 2 hours. Here's to you.
Yeah.
But my dreams and my nightmares tend to crosshatch. When I was a child, and I think this is true for all children, nightmares are very clearly nightmares. They're very clearly terrifying, right? So I'm going to give you an example. I used to have a recurring nightmare it started when I was a toddler, and I think it went into like 7, 8 years old. And it was this recurring nightmare where I'd be in a sort of a busy environment, like an airport or a bus station or a train station, somewhere where you had to be somewhere, you had to get somewhere to be somewhere, right? And there was a lot of chaos in the dream. Like there'd be people rushing back and forth to get somewhere. And I would be in this state when I was having the dream, my experience was I was in this state of anxiety. Like I got to be there. I got to get there. And then all of a sudden, the lights would kind of go out on the world. And then everyone would still be rushing around me in the darkness, but I would be frozen in place, weirdly lit by a spotlight. Gee, I wonder why. That was a joke, you guys.
Oh, I left.
But I would be weirdly lit by a spotlight and compelled to look up directly in front of me, where I would see huge in the sky, kind of like, remember that stupid kids show with the sun that had the face? Teletubbies.
Right.
Kind of like that, but not with a sun shape, just the face. Usually it was my mother. And it was this scary. It was like everything would be rushing. And then boom. And I'd look up and I'd see this face going.
Oh,
man.
Really? That's a nightmare.
Yeah.
That's some real Sturm und Drang.
It's a real nightmare. And I would wake up screaming.
Right.
In terror for my mother. Of course, come in and comfort me and it would be okay. But I had that dream for many, many, many years. And, who knows what it's about? It might be a guilt dream. It might be an anxiety dream. It's a million things. It might be about who knows what the fuck it's about. But anyway, that's dream number one. Do you want to move on to number two?
Yeah. Right. Yeah, absolutely. Hey, listen, as long as the Sarah Jessica Parker one is in there somewhere.
Yeah, it's in there. It's number two.
All right, then we're good.
It's number two.
Yes.
So then lately, it's not just Sarah Jessica Parker. Let's not make it just about her because, she's a friend and a lovely woman. So let's not make this it's all about her.
Hey.
But I told you, Emily, recently that I had this really, and I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is about the Rona. But I've been having a lot of celebrity-based dreams and nightmares lately. And this is what I mean about the dream and the nightmare being sort of intersecting in a funny way.
Right.
Because I think as we get older, anxiety manifests itself in our dreams in different ways, right? And a dream can go on like I think Griffin was saying, it can have a whole narrative, long story, and it's a dream, but it also is filled with anxiety and terror and all of these things. So I don't know what it was or why I had this dream, because I hadn't thought of I don't think about celebrities during the day.
Right.
But for some weird reason, lately I've been having celebrity-based dreams / anxiety nightmares. And a couple of weeks ago, I had this dream where I was on a red carpet. Now, this is not something I do normally. On occasion, I'll go, it's a very strange, why would I be thinking about this? And all the famous people on the red carpet were missing limbs. And they were bleeding all over the carpet, but acting like it was fine.
They're really good actors. Really good actors.
This carpet's not going to get ready.
They were just so Sarah Jessica Parker, and maybe this has something to do with the fact that she's a big shoe-loving person. I don't know. She literally was walking down the red carpet with two bloody stumps at her feet and dragging them across the red carpet.
Hey, if anybody could pull that off.
Hi.
It is hard to fit a Manolo Blahnik on.
Weird. It was so weird. And then there was Colin Firth, half his arm was off and bleeding. I don't know.
Isn't that kind of the red carpet that we all want to see, though? I mean, don't we?
I feel like if you saw the heart of the red carpet, that's really what everyone's experiencing.
It isn't about them. It's not about them, okay?
Right.
I like them.
Right.
No, I'm saying like what they're going through, having to like shadow what's really happening in your life.
I
and
enjoy their
smile at a
work.
bunch of shit.
It's got nothing to do with reality. We're talking about
Sure.
dreams here, people.
Right.
But then I remember going up to Sarah, Jessica, and saying, "You don't have feet. Are you okay?" And she said, "What? I'm fine. I know it's a hassle, but that's showbiz."
Show must go on.
It was really weird.
Yeah.
Now I'm talking look, I'm talking about friends of mine here and also people who aren't friends of mine, but you know, who I respect and like. This was not, this dream is not a reflection or a value judgment on anything.
No.
Oh, no.
It's about like this weird thing of like everybody walking around with some kind of open, gaping, bloody wound.
Well, yeah,
I don't know. I don't know what it's about.
You know, that sort of like view, the red carpet view of celebrities where they're like, there's this like this complete shiny package
right
that everybody is, when you know they are just sacks of rotting flesh like the rest of us.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Hi, Tug. Hi, Tug. I haven't seen
That
you
was a
since
great
Christmas.
time.
It's good to see you.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. I'll be done.
Okay. So, do you want to hear about I got dream/nightmare number 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, one of the drawbacks of being me is that I am, as many people know, an inveterate smoker, and I have been trying to quit. And I have quit at times for many months at a time, even like a year or more. But I always need chemical help to quit because I'm really, I mean, I've been smoking since I'm 14 years old. I'm like a deep, deep, deep addict. And I know a lot of people can relate to this. So I'm on Chantix. Okay. You know, the one, who's the guy from Goodfellas? What's his name?
Jazz Palminteri.
I'm also going through, no, the lead, not
Ray Liotta.
Ray Liotta.
Yeah.
I'm also going through menopause, so my memory is going. So Ray Liotta does the Chantix commercials, right?
Right.
It's nothing to do with Ray Liotta. Anyway, one of the side effects of Chantix is that it gives you these Looney Tunes dreams.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Another side effect is that it can make you like murder people, but that's
Yeah.
that's not. I'm not in that demographic. I'm not in that thing. But the dreams are nutty, and so are you hearing my thing beeping?
It's
okay.
Okay, good. Okay, so I had this dream last night. It's hot off the presses, guys. And it was a total nightmare. But the thing about Chantix dreams is that they have plots. They have plots and they go on for hours and they're in color. I've had dreams before where they were like themed, like one was a Restoration England thing where everybody was in wigs and there were candles everywhere and we were in a cave with a bunch of like poxy whores. And anyway, just jump in here anytime you want, you guys.
No, listen, you had me at epoxy.
So here's my thing about I was dreaming about, for some reason, Donald Trump entered my dream. And this is where it became a nightmare. He had written a movie script that we were all living. And again, on the celebrity thing, I don't know why the celebrities are coming into my dreams, but like Maggie Smith was in it, acting in the Donald Trump movie, and Tony Shalhoub. and who else? Laura Linney and who's like that action guy? Oh, James McAvoy.
Donald's
Oy.
getting Donald's casting some
And
real.
can you guys hear me? Because I can't hear you.
Yeah. Can you hear us?
Okay, so I'm just gonna keep talking until I can hear you again.
Okay.
So we're all in this movie, and you can hear me, right?
I can hear you.
Okay, good. And Trump is writing the movie, and we all have to live Trump's reality.
Oh God.
So we try to get on a plane, and we can't get on the plane because we have to get in an elevator to go to the boarding area, which is all delineated by different classes of people. And everyone's confused about which class of person they're in, and nobody can get on the plane. And then whoever can't get on the plane is trapped in this elevator for hours and hours until finally Trump comes on the screen in the elevator. And then we're somehow transported into this other world where everybody's sick and dying. I mean, it was so crazy. It was like the Mobius strip thing you were talking about earlier, Kat, because finally the movie ended and all the actors in it, including myself and like a bunch of even friends I have, you know, but we're all like, hey, great job on the movie, happy wrapping the movie. And then all of a sudden it was like we left and we walked out the door and we had to start it all over again. Except this time we knew what we were doing and we couldn't get out of it. And then the weirdest, hilarious part was then actors started judging each other on their performances in the Trump movie.
Oh no.
So they'd be like, that's not as good as you did it the first time.
Oh my God.
Or like, it was just so crazy. It was so crazy. It
what
was
an
so
awful trifecta of like stress dream, like pandemic dream, and Trump dream. That's
yeah.
Just,
and then like there was a part of it where, and this is where it always becomes difficult, because when you try to remember your dreams, right, you're thinking like an awake person, right? So you're thinking like a person who wants to go, and then this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened.
Right.
But it's not like that with dreams. It's like, or nightmares. And this happened, but then that happened before, which makes why this happened. You know, there's no clear there's no clear line. So it's really hard. It's just it becomes in waking life a series of snapshots. Whereas when you're asleep, it seems to have this sort of, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And when we're talking about Mobius strip, I'm thinking too of like a riptide.
Yes, totally, a riptide.
Yeah.
Hold around like, and you're almost out and you get sucked back in, and it's just too powerful. You can struggle all you want, but you're getting pulled with the
exactly.
The celebrity.
And it's so weird in this dream / nightmare, because I knew, and I want to say even we knew, or the people in my dream that I was with, we all knew where we were, you know, and we couldn't get out of it.
Yeah.
Like, we couldn't push. We knew where we were, and we knew we had to keep, playing along with the story. But we also knew where it was going to end, and we wanted to escape and couldn't.
Right.
Nightmare.
Eating each other alive, because with the criticism, I feel like that's
yes, with the criticism. Yes.
Yeah.
With the criticism,
I
also
feel
like am I safe with you? I'm not safe with you. That was in there too. It was very interesting. But anyway.
Yeah, I feel like everybody's having like super crazy dreams right now, but I feel like if you add like Chantix into the mix, like it's amazing that it's actually letting you wake up. Like,
oh God.
Martha, do you want to see your art?
Yes.
All right.
Oh my gosh.
Let's do it.
Let's see it. Oh, oh my God.
Oh,
I love it. She is still a fashion icon, even wearing this footless look. This
you know she could pull off footless bonnets.
If somebody could do it.
Yeah, it's gonna be her.
I just want to make it clear, I've got nothing against these
No,
people.
of course not. Of course not.
But that is an absolutely phenomenal piece of work. I love it.
Thank you.
Can I buy it?
No, you can have. Everybody can have these. I will send them to you.
That is
Like
the only
I
payment
will
for doing this show.
disinfect it and then send it to you.
Yay! I
But
love it.
Listen, I have because you told me that dream a few weeks ago, and like I have wanted to draw that ever since, just because it's such a fucking bonkers visual. So really, it was a gift.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for sticking around and doing this, because we did
Yes,
this.
thank you
It was so fun. It was wonderful.
Thank you, everybody, thank you so much for being on the show. Should everybody want to come back and say goodnight?
Is everyone even still there?
This was honestly so much fun. Like,
yay!
Yay!
Yeah, thank you. Everybody's really great nightmares, really great. Like, thank you for sharing. This is like crazy. We did this the first time and I felt like it went well. We didn't drop anybody during their story or anything.
I'm sure we're gonna have many, many more.
Yeah. we're all living in the nightmare now. But yes, everybody, you guys have really fucked up subconsciousnesses and I appreciate each and every one of them. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you guys.
Thank you
Yes.
very much.
Thanks for having us.
Have better dreams tonight.
I mean, I'm only gonna think about legless celebrities from now on, bleeding on a carpet.
It's not likely we're gonna sleep well for quite
no. But at least we have a reason now, right? You know, it's
and
a
at
show.
least we're home to cook delicious dinners, which I am doing right now.
Yes, I need to eat because I'm too drunk.
Yeah, me too.
My poor kid is stuck with my Irish lady cuisine, so it's
That's
probably
right, guys.
he's gonna get scurvy soon.
All right, you guys go eat. Go to bed.
Thanks for having us.
All right, thank you.
Night, night. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, it was great.
And, all right.
Wait, don't talk yet. You're still live. You're still live.
Are we still live?
What do you think we're gonna say? This is so terrible.